Three, two, one. This is the Jai 08, also known as Jeremy the Jai Guillory. And
Classic Mike here.
as you can tell, Classic Mike has a new haircut, so please be nice.
Too hot, man.
Um,
Yeah, it's just
so,
first summer. Too hot, so
yeah.
time to off.
So, um, today we are going to be discussing about Kayfabe and its history. Um, so, Kayfabe, also known as heel and face, storylines, whatever you want to call it. I believe the term actually originated in the Carney days. Am I correct?
Yeah, wrestling. Well, basically, when we got better, it was like every time you had a big wrestler, they asked everyone in their town to go against them.
Right.
You know, see if they can beat them. That's the Carneys, and then they started doing wrestling shows after that, little small events after the Carneys.
Yeah.
At the day, they came up with like good guy, bad guy thing, basically, and they had to cover it up. The kayfabe means folks not supposed to know what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And then when some things happen, they find out, and then they call it, oh, it's kayfabe. So Japanese people separate from each other, wrestlers, so they won't know they're really friends.
Yeah.
But we found that later on when
Yeah.
history got bigger.
Yeah. So there's going to be several topics that we're going to talk about with kayfabe over
Mm-hmm.
here.
Yep.
One is the storyline portion to um, breaking kayfabe. Um, is kayfabe actually worth it today? Is kayfabe helping the industry, hurting the industry, things like that. Um, so,
Right.
so, um, do you have the full history of kayfabe
Okay.
altogether?
I don't need to start. I don't pretty much the history. Okay. Long time ago, after the current days, people like Pound Self promoters started doing their own local wrestling events in their hometowns. Basically, have their own champion. And as they started having other people go becoming wrestlers, they're just no training. They just went in and fight. There's always a good guy. There's always a bad guy to get the fans interested. When the promotion got bigger and bigger, and new promotions started coming out, they made sure nobody knew these wrestlers really actually like each other. They had to keep wrestlers separate. One went to a hotel, one went to another hotel. They're not supposed to go talk or near anything else around the fans. That's why I couldn't talk to each other for years, because that's the way it's been for all promotions around the United States and all over the world. Basically, they had a lot of people like one like person or don't like a person. Like for example, Kid Crosskin was one of the meanest wrestlers in the history. That's Triple H's teacher. He had a lot of rivalries with Vern Guy and all that. He was the ultimate bad guy, like the spiritual Sheik was, which he was very violent. He's the ultimate bad guy, Sabu's uncle. Then, on the other hand, you had other wrestlers, sometimes the others like Vern Gagne or Bruno Sammartino, they were always the good guy. Everybody rooted for him. Everybody tried to, say defeat the bad guy. And then kept doing that for years. And then when the 50s came out, the TV started coming out. Network started wrestling events, which, like I said, all these old wrestlers and new wrestlers come out, they have been into characters, like a Gorgeous George and all that, and they turn them last night turn them to characters. They still had to separate them just to get the ratings. But then it was one of the biggest things in TV until it died down after a while. It left the air, wrestling left the air, and then all states still had their own regional events, own promoters across the United States. Like Florida had a bad guy, Eddie Graham, but he became a promoter after he left. Mid Senior had New York. They had the Crockett's and the Crockett's down before they bought it. And I don't know who ran the NWA at the time, but before the Crockett's bought some promotions, ran almost half the United States through other territories. Like they ran WCCW in Texas. They ran the Chicago Wrestling Organization in Chicago, Illinois, and then Pacific Northwest. The majority of it was NWA, but Capital was separate from them. That was Vince Senior. But everybody got along. No one went to anyone's territory to take over. There was a traded wrestlers, great Bud Lights, back in the 60s. Then the 70s started becoming more popular. Because you had more, cable started coming out during the early, mid, late 70s. And So regional attorneys decided to go on TV, to try to get their organizations on there, like Vince Sear did, and the rest of the NWA did, and started getting popular with everybody. Then the violence started coming on afterwards. Oh man, it really boosted everything up. Got everybody thirsty for more.
Yeah.
Like I said, Dusty Rhodes match against both Star Billy Graham was a classic.
Yeah.
They had Sergeant Slaughter against Pat Patterson. That was another classic. It was bloodbath right there. Then the 80s came along, and then all of a sudden, Vince McMahon buys everybody out and goes political, trying to make characters relate to political going on, like Iran and all that, the Iron Sheik and Russia and all that, trying to make more and more character-wise for kiddies. Early days, it wasn't just straight-laced wrestling to they got on, well, but the 83, 84, they started doing these cartoon characters, but they still had to separate them. They could not be in it until the Sheik and Duggan incident. That's when they found out that there's no good guy, bad guy. That broke it right there, broke that mold right there between the kayfabe. And some of these guys took kayfabe really seriously. Like, for example, the 2020 thing when Dr. Dave should smack that reporter for real. I mean, actually smacked the guy really hard. And some of the guys took this really seriously. They're not supposed to, but they did.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically through that, we'll talk about more like, I'm going 3 years real quick. So we'll talk about each, what he knows, what I know. We'll talk about the wrestlers. But anyhow, I'm going quick on this. The 90s came and they said, well, let's just put everybody together. And then there's no sense kayfabe anymore. But the early era, there's still kayfabe wasn't much anymore. Everybody knew what was going on because everybody was smart because the internet started coming out and they were becoming a little smarter on the situation. That's why they stopped in the mid 90s and just let everyone do themselves. Attitude Era and then One Night Wars. Everyone's doing themselves. They try to be good and bad guys, but everybody let the bad guys and the good guys. You know, they started saying some people they liked them. Like, yeah, they were supposed to be a bad guy, but everybody loved him. Yeah. Stone Cold Steve was supposed to be a bad guy. They loved him. They hated Fred after a time. Because everything's changing with generations. Then from then on, 2000s, same thing. Everybody still to this day, people say pick who they like and don't like. There's no such thing as kayfabe anymore. It's just what people like, what people don't like. So basically, that's my rendition of the kayfabe. I don't know he probably looked a lot up. So there's things I've watched over the years from 70s on. I was told a lot of stories by my grandparents about a lot of the way back when wrestling started and stuff. So that's pretty much kayfabe right there. What happened each decade. So, Jerry, if you got anything you want to talk about that?
Yeah, there's still a little bit of kayfabe going on today. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. It's mostly storyline. Um, you don't really see much heel and face nowadays.
Yep. It died in the 90s.
Um, it died a little bit in the 90s. You still see characters like Undertaker. That's kayfabe. Kane is
he started as a bad guy, and then everybody started loving him after a couple of years, and he did the same thing. He was no good guy nor bad guy. He just did what he did. Like I said, they continued on with the character, basically.
Yeah.
Basically reinvented themselves. But I stood so long.
El Grande Americano is technically kayfabe right now.
Yeah, but it's not Chad Gable.
It's not Chad Gable right now.
It's not.
He's
injured. It's whatever the other guy is, the German guy.
They got like 4 guys being.
Well, right now you got that German thing person that came with him, Gunther. He's now Grande Americano right now. Ludwig. There's no other guys anymore.
Ludwig.
Chad's can come back as himself. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's gonna say Americana. I think they're gonna kill the character attack him back.
Yeah.
Because that character's not getting over it at all.
Yeah, they're saying that it's Ludwig, Kaiser. There's also Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates. Are all taking that gimmick.
That's the time so Chad can be in the ring.
Yeah. Yeah, so
when Chad's out, they had another wrestler permanently take over till he comes back.
And believe it or not, gimmicks are also part of kayfabe as well.
As I said,
kayfabe is very broad.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, this is a very broad topic.
Cartoon characters, and then they started getting more and more.
Yeah. So yeah, this is going to be a very broad topic today. Um,
Might get some right, might get some right, but if you don't get
there,
anything right, just let us know. Let you
yeah,
know that.
there may be some false processes. These are based off of general knowledge research, everything that we know about.
I didn't do any research. I just, like I said, remember from my
Yeah,
memories.
yeah. So, um, also, when you talk to former wrestlers or old school wrestlers, they hate breaking kayfabe. Even if you are backstage, and you know all about it, and you're going in for a show, and you're part of the show, they don't like to break kayfabe in front of you at all.
No, that was a
Um,
big no-no back then.
yeah, that
A
they're
lot of
like,
this happened.
don't.
A lot of this happened, and then
Yeah, yeah,
they'll
and
break it later on.
I mean, there's been several times where I've been backstage to do something, and I said, "Hey, what are we doing here?" And try to go over something that's gonna be on the show, and the guy's just sitting there in character, and he says, "Hey, with me, you don't break kayfabe at all. We have to stay over here and things. Don't use my real name or anything like that." One of the biggest things when it comes to kayfabe, whenever you talk to someone from the 80s, 70s, and sometimes 90s, do not call them by their real name when
If they're one
they're
of the characters, unless they want, as they
yeah,
went in as their real name.
yeah, yeah.
My wrestlers
um,
did that.
Sting, when you talk to Sting at Comic Cons, there's been like two, three guys while I was in line. They called him Steve. He did not like that. He's corrected them and
No, if
said,
you're really fans, you call them by the wrestling name.
"Yeah, yeah." He said,
That's respect right there.
My
You know
name's
the
not
name for
Steve.
years. Like, no,
I'm
the real
Steve."
name, but you might use your wrestling name.
Yeah,
Because the little kids. Little
yeah,
kids love Sting.
yeah. And
They say Steve who? And they go look at you. Who's Steve?
yeah,
That's why you guys don't want to break character because of the kids.
no, no, no. So that's just from the fan's perspective of things. You can do as much research on the person themselves, but
They learn more
they
later
are,
on when they say something. So
yeah, yeah.
whatever
So
it is they do, even more the person.
yeah, yeah. When it comes to Comic Cons and things, yeah, they'll tell you about the backstage business and things as much as they can.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
because everybody knows us. It's like they broke the
yeah,
'90s,
yeah.
and everybody
At
wants to
the
know.
yeah, at the convention section, but when you're at the fan table, um, they're like, "Yeah, I'm paid here to be this person, to do this gimmick here."
Yeah, they get paid for it for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
services.
yeah.
If
So
they're Comic Con stuff like that, but if you with your organization,
yeah,
part of your part of your
yeah,
paycheck.
yeah,
You don't
and,
do it unless you get paid, unless you get paid, because a lot of times you don't have a
yeah,
second job
yeah,
for anything.
yeah. And also, when it comes to storylines, they don't really know much about what to expect going forward. Sometimes, most of the time, they just go by, okay, what are we doing today? What's the story today? Um, we're building up this bigger storyline here. When do we take the initiative to change the storyline? When are we changing the storyline? Um, there's all those factors that come into play. Um, Long term storytelling is crucial to kayfabe because short term storylines, you know, you just build up to that one main event, one main pay per view, and it's done. It's over. And
Mm-hmm.
then you have to figure out, okay, how do you transition from this story to this next story? Um, it's going to be very difficult. Sometimes they do transitions where they try to incorporate little sprinkles of the next storyline in there to show that, oh, hey, you know, this person's coming out here and doing things, you know, we're going to tease a little turn and see how the crowd reacts to see what all happens. And then when it finally does happen, everyone's shocked, at those shock values. Um, th- there is several different ways that they can actually handle um, the kayfabe for that. Um, so um, in the 80s, like Mike said, you got heroes, villains, the Hulk Hogan's, the Ric Flairs, the Iron Sheiks,
Mm-hmm.
Coco Beware, Junkyard
And they lived
Dog.
they lived outside also. If you've seen kind of the videos.
Yeah, they lived it outside. Um, Sometimes it was even hard for the kids, their own kids, to decipher. Okay, is this his character or is this actually him doing it?
You have to have to let the character outside to keep everybody
Yeah, it's
knows.
it was a
Right.
24-hour thing. Um, so when you first heard about kayfabe or in the term, what was your initial reaction to it?
Well, it wasn't really called kayfabe at the time. Not until like right after the Attitude Era, they started. Not these the writers and stuff kept calling it kayfabe. So they kept the name.
Yeah,
It's just telling people the character, but not your true self, and try to get the storylines going. And no one's supposed to go backstage and know anything. You just start calling kayfabe to the reporters call it years later.
yeah,
And why they changed with the times because a little small organization in Philadelphia was exploding at the time because of the time changing music and stuff. No one gives ECW credit for changing the industry. They keep it boring. And then when they started doing hardcore stuff, and then music came out, let's compare it anyway because he's losing a lot of ratings. So he decided later on just to throw everybody out there, and that's when everything exploded with the music now and stuff like that, starting back in a little place in Philadelphia. They get started because a lot of
yeah,
musicians were a part of it. Like Rob Zombie had music for him, and Pantera had a lot of music for him. Nirvana, all of them pushed like music to a small organization never heard about. Then Vince got him on TV, and then after that, Vince changed and the facility changed and went fly high.
oh yeah,
And that's when kayfabe started. That's when they started no more good guy, bad guy things, and they're just calling still. They know what to call it, so they just nothing called it the time 2 years later, and that's when they start calling it kayfabe.
yeah,
Nowadays, like ECW really changed the industry right there, and Heyman still is getting enough credit for it. Or the guy who really invented it, Ty Gore, which was his idea, and Paul Heyman, a late wrestler no one probably heard about, called Hasabasco Gilbert, started Eastern Championship Wrestling, and then it went up from there. After Todd
yeah,
left, during time they broke up NWA and did their own promotion and exploded all over the place.
yeah,
A lot of times you couldn't watch it because it's so violent. They put late night
yeah,
TV to even watch it.
yeah.
Magazines were
Now,
covering everything.
yeah,
That's what exploded with
there,
the narrations now. That's why all this stuff today. It's
yeah,
because of the
yeah.
little dicky promotion.
Believe
That's when
it,
kayfabe started changing.
believe it or not, you can also look up this video or this story on YouTube and Google.
Yep.
But there was also times when reports, even dating back to 1910, they
Right.
were trying to expose the business of
Yeah,
wrestling.
always try to expose business. Always. That's why they kept doing what they did.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what 2020 tried to do, expose the business, but they just kept writing characters. Well, it's been Hulk Hogan, but he didn't want to do an interview, so they gave Dave Schultz instead, which is a big poo poo.
yeah,
Dave
yeah,
Schultz was really
yeah,
a nice guy, but when he was in character, he's really an asshole.
yeah.
That's what and if you watch the Dark Side of Wrestling, we explained they had to do that because
They
like
they
a
did
good
not
guy,
want to
bad guy thing,
expose it.
the mystique of their
Yeah.
personal lives and
The
private.
the the main concern with kayfabe
Mm-hmm.
and the industry is that
right?
if it gets exposed, the industry's done. It's a business.
But
That's
it
the
didn't. It didn't. Like I said, it started dying down, but ECW came along and it got right back up again.
yeah,
They didn't just. They wasn't know. They didn't know that the entertainment part of it was blowing up the industry basically in the '90s, and everything was changing. And then they said, "Let's try this." And they found out the organization was already doing it in the United States. They thought, "Well, let's do it." Eric Bischoff did it first, ripping ECW off, doing the same thing. But they couldn't get the rights to a lot of the music. That was the thing. And then WE got along. They had all the bands with them, and the One Night Wars came along, and that's what started the film industry to what it is today. But the product's
mm,
not that great, but type of industry we got today.
yeah,
Music, TV, and all that. But didn't have that much back then in the '90s. It was always limited. But now it's
yeah.
more common today.
Oh no, no.
That's why everything
Um,
has to change
yeah. So
or it dies.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it, the industry has evolved. Kayfabe has evolved. Everything has evolved.
And
Um,
always, everything evolves.
WWE and Netflix recently released a documentary. I believe it's a docu series called WWE Untold, where they go behind the scenes of what it's like to do, um, like what it's like to be in the WWE, and they kind of broke it down very well. I did not see the series as of yet. Um,
It was okay, but they still had a little private stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But a lot of
yeah,
wrestlers, when they do their own documentaries, they really expose it. So what WWE doesn't
yeah,
tell you, they'll expose
yeah,
themselves later on.
yeah,
And
um,
and now they're going to have I think I don't know if it's got Hulu. I've got the new series they're coming out with now.
yeah.
Doing
So
do another documentary type style, like did with this man Netflix. I think who's doing it, I'm not sure yet. I have to check
I'm
it
not.
out. There's another series coming out. I
Yeah,
don't know what it's called. Everybody's just saying new series coming up and put the title of it yet. So if
yeah,
they did, as of now, I don't know it.
yeah.
But I know it's
There,
coming out series,
yeah. Now, like I said, I did not watch the series yet, as of yet.
and that was okay.
But I did see the YouTube video from Maven Huffman, and he broke it down. He gave out his initial reaction. Said yes,
Yeah,
they did it back then, and they're still doing it now.
yeah,
So he
but not much. The
not
smaller
much.
organizations, yet the local territories are still doing it, but the
Yeah,
major ones ain't really doing it.
yeah,
But now some of the rest of the schools, they said, yeah, a lot are still doing it, but
yeah,
not really big organizations. Like NWA still doing it.
yeah,
Still doing good bad guy things. What Billy wants to do,
yeah,
Billy Hogan
yeah,
wants to do it.
yeah,
Everybody knows Billy Hogan is. Based Smashing Pumpkins took over
yeah,
promotion years, about 10, 12, 20 years ago, and
yeah.
kept it going. Now they're getting bigger now. So now on Pluto, they're getting bigger Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock, for seeing new episodes. I forgot what
So
channels. What channels? It's not their own channel. It's just what channel they're on. And Sports Network they
yeah,
started on
yeah,
there. So
yeah,
all about wrestling
yeah.
and other
So
way, I guess.
so your view on kayfabe today is
Well,
that
basically,
it's already
but,
dead.
but well,
Okay.
basically, there's no good getting a bad guy. If they like you, you come in new, they don't know about you, and they see you wrestle, they know if you're really into it or just faking it. A lot of
Yeah.
people try coming in thinking, oh, we got a lot of training, we can do this, we can do that. No. If the wrestler knows you can't handle it, they'll beat the crap out of you to make sure you can handle it. But sometimes it gets
Yeah.
full in your head, and you got entertaining fans, and I don't want entertaining fans, and big joke. Like, for
Yeah.
example, two new people that came up from LFT into NXT. The Olympic Message girl is, and they're doing awesome. They really want to be into this wrestling. But you got
Yeah.
someone like Logan Paul at first didn't give a shit. They pushed him. They beat the living crap out of him. He thought he could do it. Then he started training a little more, and kind of got the message that this is just, you got to really do more than you do in your
Yeah.
boxing. You got to do more moves. You got to really show him you can handle it. And now, since it's been a
Yeah.
couple years in there, he's now getting it.
Yeah.
You can't just come in for the entertainment industry, or you didn't get trained too much. Just, oh, I know this, because promoter knows you don't know how to wrestle. Either
There,
beats crap on you, makes you leave, or makes you want to come back to learn more.
yeah.
That's the biggest thing right now. Some people don't
There's
go to wrestling school; they just go right in so they can do it.
yeah.
That's the biggest thing that people know. People know you can wrestle. You can wrestle great. Go on your side. Good guy, bad guy, whatever. But they know, they let you have it.
Yeah. There are several
Yeah,
times.
the fans control now, not the
Yeah.
voters. The fans are the ones that they're trying to
Yeah.
please. Let them know it.
There have been several instances where new wrestlers, fresh out the gate
Mm-hmm.
wrestlers,
Yep, that's what I'm talking about.
come out into the ring
Mm-hmm.
and they get ganged up on by the veterans. We've seen it
Yeah, because
several
they
times.
know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah. Um, Royal Rumble. I believe it was 2000 when they were doing the first season of Tough Enough. The Tough
Mm-hmm.
Enough guy, the one that won Tough Enough the first time, was that 2001 or 2002?
2000. It's
2000?
999 2000. I think you might be talking about Maven.
No, not Maven.
Oh, okay. So, okay.
He was season two. I'm talking about
That's season
season
two.
one.
Okay. It's like 99 2000
Yeah,
2001 something around there.
yeah, yeah. So,
Let me look it up.
the, yeah, the Tough Enough, the first Tough Enough winner was being very cocky backstage. Goes in for the Royal Rumble. Four of the toughest guys in WWE at the time: Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, I believe Kurt Angle, and one other guy is already in the ring, and they just start welling on him and being the living crap out of him, and then they just throw him out of the ring. Um, None of that was planned. None of that was scripted or anything. They just did that. Um, so basically, what Vince McMahon did for that situation was he just told them, "Hey, just go out there and just teach this little guy a lesson." That's all he said to them. When he told the winner to go out there, he said, "Have at it. Um, just know that you're just going out there talking some trash, and then you're going to um, get knocked out of the ring." He did not say how, but yeah,
Yeah, you mean in 2003, John Hennigan was his name, or is it Mac Poltelli? I'm going to which one. 2003, both of them won, so I don't know which one they
yeah,
ganged up on. But maybe one of the first one. It came out in 2001.
okay,
So 2001 to 2004 when Daniel Puder won, and then they revived it from 2011 to 2015. The
yeah,
2011, it's on 15 had the winners because it was was not extended series like the first half was. I'm right now. I'm reading all the winners, so it had to be either
yeah,
Matt or John. I think
yeah.
it was John. Matt had a pretty good career after he got tough
It
enough.
may have been Daniel Pewter though.
Maybe it was
Yeah,
2004. And
yeah.
maybe with him too. You
So
never know. It's one of those three. It's one of those three.
yeah,
They know
yeah,
because they Royal died a few years later.
yeah,
I just looked up. It was 2001 when it came out
yeah,
on MTV.
yeah.
They announced it in 2000. So
Correct us in the comments, please. I'm not going to share any of the images because
no,
I'm not going to
get
um,
copyright.
research something that I'm going to get wrong on here. So I'm
Right.
not
And
going to.
plus copyright infringement too, because
Well, I've
that stuff's
shared.
owned by the people themselves. Basically, WWE finds out, or someone else tries to come right after you.
Yeah,
So you have to be careful of the copyrights on here. A lot of people almost got thrown off their own shows already. Eight, nine people last few weeks and got thrown off.
yeah.
For showing videos of copyright, they were not supposed to show.
So
Silliness.
let's talk about the characters.
Okay, what characters do
Yeah.
you remember from what you watched? in your era? I'll talk about
My
mine.
year, we've had the Iron Sheik, Mentor.
That was before your era, so
Yeah, yeah,
Darn
but
Shake
I
was.
remember that Rowdy
He
Roddy
came back a few
Piper.
times. Yeah, they all
Um,
came back a few times. That's why you probably remember.
yeah,
Let's come back.
yeah. Let's see, Sergeant Slaughter's another character.
He kept coming
Um,
back.
Shopmaster, the
Oh
Yeti,
God! Oh my God!
Giant.
Shotmaster! Oh my God! You watch? Did you ever see the video of what happened when he first
Yeah,
started?
I saw it live. I
Oh, you did? You saw? I was right. You were a little kid time the midnight. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I remember. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was hilarious. That's not supposed to happen because
it,
there's a bar that's not supposed to be on the bottom. They forgot to move the bar and he tripped over.
yeah,
You know who Shockmaster is, ladies and gentlemen? He was first known as Typhoon and Tugboat in WWE. That
yeah,
happened accidentally. He's never living it
y-
down. He still laughs about it.
yeah,
I got management. I got Ole Anderson PO'd about that because he screwed up. He
yeah,
did the voice of Shockmaster, believe it or not.
yeah.
That's what the voice was at the beginning. But go on.
Okay.
Sorry,
Other
folks.
characters include Ultimate Warrior, Undertaker, as said before, Kane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, you could say Rey Mysterio because he is a luchador.
Yeah, but
Um,
yeah. He as a guest character, you can get named after his uncle.
yeah,
Kept it going.
yeah. Um, there's also Rey Mysterio Senior as well.
Yep, that's why
Um,
he kept the name. Keep the in Mexico because the traditions.
yeah, and there's a few other gimmick characters.
You don't remember
Gobbly Goober is
Gooker,
Gooker.
Gooker, Golly Gooker.
I
Every
always
he
called
said
him
the last
Gooper.
name wrong. That's what the guy's name was. That was Chavo Senior.
Yeah,
By the way, born that costume.
yeah.
He did not like it.
No one liked him. No one
He thought it
liked
was a
it.
bad idea to begin with, but they put him in the costume anyhow.
Yeah, yeah. The gimmick did not make any sense. They only brought him out on Thanksgiving, so
And the gimmick battle royal later on.
yeah,
And all the characters come back.
yeah.
He didn't last long.
No.
Right.
Doink the Clown is another big one too.
Which one?
Doink the Clown.
The main Doinks. Yep.
Yeah,
But the original's no longer with us. He passed away.
yeah,
I think I remember drug overdose. He's having a lot of problems. They
yeah,
can't place him with different characters, so
yeah,
he's still around today, but in person playing him.
yeah,
8 or 9 people that actually played
yeah,
the character
yeah. So
after he did it.
yeah. Were there any other big characters that you recall?
Okay, I have a long list. Okay, ones I remember were the Valiant Brothers. Their current character, Jimmy and Johnny, they're both different. Jimmy still was a maniac. You know how he started calling himself Jimmy Rock and Roll Band later on. He was the maniac of the two, and Johnny was a scientific one of the brothers. They're actually brothers.
Yeah,
The names are not the real names, but they're actually brothers in real life. That's a real brother team. Then you got that's like superstar Billy Graham. That was another character.
yeah,
You know, he's flamboyant. He's before Hogan ripped him off. Everybody ripped him off. Jesse the Body ripped him off. Hulk Hogan ripped him off. They have Don the Rock Morocco. Because he's built really big, steroids and all that. He's really big. He comes out rockets. He had the toughest body in wrestling at the time. Then you got the '80s. Then you got the Freebirds, of course. There are a bunch of characters. Perry was a brawler. Michael was flamboyant, and the other guy, I forgot his name, but also the muscle. Well, he didn't wrestle that much. He
yeah,
didn't much wrestling experience. That's why he didn't wrestle in ring that much. Then you had Hogan, Sheik, Volkov, Piper, um, Cowboy Bob Orton. Uh, They had these weird characters in the 80s that never made up, like a character you might have heard of. I've heard of Outback Jack. Ever heard of him?
Not quite sure.
Okay, what he was is he's a wrestler from Australia who started from the United States to wrestle. He's doing pretty good, but then Vince gave him the character Outback Jack team with Hillbilly Jim. It didn't work out that well.
Yeah.
He couldn't get his. Then you see what else we had. We had a female tag team called themselves Jump Bomb Angels. They're
Yeah.
a female tag team lightweights. They couldn't keep up with the tag teams because they're too lightweight. Then you had the Midnight Rockers, aka the Rockers, back in the 80s when they were NWA. They were called Midnight Rockers.
Yeah.
They had a guy called Boris Zukov. Was American, but he played a Russian. Later on, he was known as Bolshevik, but he was a mass wrestler in the 80s. So was Nikita and Ivan Koloff. There are two characters right there. Two, Ivan was really Russian, but Nikita was born in America, but he was really the nephew of Ivan.
I've actually met Nikita Koloff.
Yeah, because he was born in America after Ivan came away from Russia way back in the 70s, 60s, and 70s. So he has a sort of relation to Ivan.
Yeah.
Let's see, who else do I think of? There's so many characters. I'm gonna mix all the characters up for decades. A weird character called Big Billy Music. Well, he was a tough guy, independent wrestler who was really Jim and Tuck. He's really, I saw him in a few matches before. He was really good, but they made his character like a bully, like Mario, dressed up all red.
Yeah.
So if you bully with a cigar, it didn't even work out. It ruined his career. So we had to be time. Then you had Damien Demento, another indie guy that wasn't that great. They threw him in there as a character. He didn't work out great. They put like a futuristic sort of desert thing, like the World Warrior. Not really the World Warrior, but a low down version of him.
Yeah.
That was a stupid character. Who else? The Moondogs. Now there are characters right there. Brack, Spot, and there's so many Moondogs out there. Well, these guys were supposed to act like dogs, but they're actually wrestlers. So they made them look like dogs throughout the 70s and 80s. But believe it or not, Moondog Rex was the original Smash in Demolition, and he couldn't talk. That's why I had to replace him. He decided to bow because he couldn't talk at all. That's why he placed him very docile as him later on. He knew he couldn't talk. He tried, but let's see who else other characters. Oh, Rick the Model Martel. Fashion model.
Yeah.
But Rick Martel was a gym wrestler. He started in the 70s and in wrestling back in the New York days, and then went. He could speak 8 English at all. That's why he had to do a tag team with Torgrig, because Torgrig could speak English. But Rick Martel, when he came to America, never spoke the word English till later on. He learned it. Then he went on his own, and then in the AWA, and he did his model thing. You don't talk about much wrestling anymore from him anymore. He still tries not to talk about it because he's got his business. Let's see who else here.
Muhammad Hassan is another big gimmick.
Everybody knows him. I'm talking about the ones that people don't know. I'm trying to think. Everyone knows who Son is.
Duke and Domino.
Huh? Duke and Domino.
Yeah.
Everybody knew them too because it failed because Vince couldn't do anything with them.
Yeah.
And everybody else, that was Jimmy Snuka's son.
There was a lot of gimmick characters that were only around for like one match or so.
No, some of these were for series matches to do fillers for One Night Raw, Nitro when they were first starting out.
Yeah.
Just fillers.
Let's see.
Okay, how about this character? Dean Malenko.
Dean Malenko?
He was not, as the character's name, is not his real name. But that was his father took when his father was wrestling.
Yeah.
He took Malenko instead of using his real name. Because wrestlers back then, he took the name. He said a lot of horror stories about what happened to him, and fans and stuff.
Carmella's father was a gimmick wrestler.
All these people are gimmick wrestlers from the fathers back down to the sons, right down to the daughters.
Yeah.
But they come with their own gimmicks, or the company comes out one with them. That's why some of these weird gimmicks came out. The promoters put them out there. Now the wrestlers getting their own gimmicks now. Makes more sense.
Yeah.
Now, all these gimmick wrestlers go online and go through, see how many characters you can find. They can't find everybody, but trying to think on the top of my
Um,
head. So
yeah, yeah. So
I remember.
so has there been any wrestlers in kayfabe that you've met in person
I
before?
never met any wrestlers. Like at the time, I could when I finished situation, I couldn't afford a contract or anything like that. But I have some relatives and four relatives that are mid card wrestlers that met them.
Okay.
I got one that my cousin, the second divorce wrestled in a violent organization in Boston. He met Triple H a
Yeah.
few times. Then I got another cousin who recently separated from my other cousin. He was in this local organization here, and he met a lot of wrestlers such as Jerry Lawler and
Yeah.
DiBiase Jr. He fought and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They hit it before he died.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people told me they met this guy. My grandmother and grandfather used to meet some wrestlers when they used to go to Syracuse, New York, which I'm near, when they used to hold wrestling fest before the 70s.
Yeah.
They watched them, and they didn't meet him, but they talked to him for a brief minute when they're walking by. Um,
Yeah.
I've never met the wrestling superstar. I bumped into Hassan, but he
Yeah.
had to get going. He was on his way to work at the
Yeah.
time. He was with principal. So I met him and I bumped into him and said, "Have a good day." So you two walked up to work. I
Yeah.
was going to bother a guy because he was in a hurry.
Yeah.
It was early
Yeah.
morning. He
Yeah.
was in a hurry to get to school because he
Yeah.
still lives in Syracuse. He's still living there, but he still does Fulton School District where my town is in right now. So
Yeah.
other than
So
that, I've never met any wrestlers. I've seen Tommy Dreamer and X Pac doing their thing, but everyone Fred Park kept bothering them. Guys, I just left them
yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
I just
So
left you guys alone. Like I said,
so
I don't
yeah.
remember any of I bumped into a few, but I've never met.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
actually talked to them.
So I've been involved with about two or three local promotions around
Mm-hmm.
here.
Yep.
Um,
Well, they
so
are lots of small promotions and not
yeah,
that big and
yeah,
localized,
yeah,
and
yeah,
try to bring in the bigger wrestlers with their own wrestlers.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So yeah,
but
one of the small promotions that I've been involved with here um, has the son of the junkyard dog
mm-hmm.
in there. Um,
Yep.
Also met a few other big guys.
Ooh.
When Don Callis was on a hiatus
Jackal.
from
He still getting called a Jackal today. He's never
yeah,
lived that down. Or Cyrus the
yeah,
Virus when
yeah.
he was in ECW.
So there
Never
was a
will
brief
be done.
time between AEW and TNA and New Japan where Don Callis was in hiatus. He came
Yep.
to one of the local promotions here, and and a couple of my friends that were wrestlers there begged me to come down to support them, and they were heels there, and they said, "Yeah, we're gonna be wrestling the Sun Junkyard Dog and Marcus Dupree." I knew
Okay.
Marcus Dupree from Philadelphia.
I know who he is.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
seen
yeah,
I've seen him wrestle MLW a few times when I found videos of him.
yeah, yeah.
I
So
know who he is.
yeah, I knew
Lots of old
I knew
promotions
him
on
personally,
YouTube.
so I knew that I was gonna go over to that event anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to him about it. Get the tickets. Um, I go over there, and Don Callis has his own stand during the intermission. I go over there,
Yeah,
and
his enemies wrestlers actually do run their stands in these
yeah,
shows. Their
yeah,
merchandise.
they actually do that. And I go over there,
Mm-hmm.
and he hasn't even shown up on the show yet or anything.
And then wait till later on to towards the main
And
event. That'll show
he was going to be in the main event.
your biggest stars
Yeah, he was
towards
going to be
that.
in the main event. And there's a small crowd around him. I get a picture with him with my wife,
Cool.
and we say, "Wow, your crowd, your stand's pretty popular around here." And he said, "Yeah, I used to be in TNA and New
Yep,
Japan."
WWE and
Yeah,
ECW.
yeah,
He was actually a wrestler, but he wasn't a good wrestler.
yeah,
So he decided to take the time off to heal, and then he came back. Well, I'll just be behind the scenes. And then he's behind
yeah,
the scenes. Then became manager in WWE. First time I saw
yeah,
him, the Jackal. It didn't work
yeah,
out that one. It lasted like 8 months for Vince fired. Everything did
yeah.
nothing with him. Then
And
Brother Paul Heyman bringing him out character. He wouldn't be around today because Paul Heyman made him like the enemy TNN affiliate guy running and
yeah,
trying to shut down ECW, and that's what got really popular with him being always the bad guy. So he got very popular. That team's supposed
oh
to be.
yeah,
He has Paul let everybody do what they want. That's how he came up with
yeah,
these characters by himself, because pros who know what they're doing.
yeah,
And he got there. They went to all over the place. TNA,
yeah,
AW. I think he
yeah,
made Ring of Honor a few times. I'm not
yeah,
sure. I'm
yeah,
just guessing on that one.
yeah. And then,
That's like I've followed him for years.
yeah,
He's good
I
as a
mean,
bad guy. I mean, keep bad guy. He's good. Good guy.
what's so amazing with interesting about that interaction is even though me and my wife barely knew who he was, he
Yeah,
was kind enough to actually show us his Wikipedia page and say, "Hey, if you want more information, here's this
yeah.
page."
That's what they did. They showed
Yeah,
that time. There's
yeah,
Wikipedias and stuff.
yeah, because
There weren't really big wrestling pages to later on. It was just like little dinky pages you have to look
yeah,
through.
but
There's
this
about
was in like 2018.
yeah, that's when the
Yeah,
internet
yeah,
started getting bigger and bigger and bigger as they
18 and
get it.
19.
At the beginning,
So
because it got bigger towards the 90s and 2000s. That's what started
yeah,
getting a little bigger.
yeah. So
Pages.
yeah, and another interactions is that I would go to the local comic cons here,
Yep, that's
Mississippi Comic
another
Cons.
thing they do.
Yeah,
That's the big
and
fan.
there's always a big name Hall of Fame wrestler. The first one that I
Mm-hmm.
went to around here, um,
Probably because the Closet Con around here, closest you're gonna get is Pennsylvania. They don't go in New York at all
they,
for Comic Con. Usually Pennsylvania
they don't
or
have a New York
Ohio.
Comic
That's
Con.
nearest to my area. That to get Comic Cons.
Are you
So that's
serious?
my two states. Those two states near my area to do it. No one up north does them, unless they're starting to do them now. I don't know of. I know around New York State,
Yeah,
upper New York State, where I'm from, mid state,
yeah,
they really don't do Comic Cons up here. They do like the
yeah,
big cities,
yeah.
basically.
So
That's what they concentrate on.
I'm surprised that New York City doesn't have a Comic Con.
They
But
had they don't have much often because of Pennsylvania where they have it is too close to New York City.
okay,
Yeah, because the I think it's Poughkeepsie or something like that. It has it
yeah,
basically, but you
yeah,
got Bill Apter down there,
yeah,
formerly Pro Illustrated. He lives down there. He brings Comic Cons down there to do. He does interviews on his OneWrestling.com show.
yeah, yeah.
That's how he really talks to
So
wrestlers when it comes to him. That or
yeah,
New
yeah,
Jersey, whatever other country,
yeah,
another
yeah.
state that
So
has them.
yeah, so the first Comic Con that I ever went to was one in Harrisburg, and
Yeah,
they only
Harrisburg.
had that.
That's where it's at every year. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. That's where it's usually at around
No,
that area.
Harrisburg, Mississippi. Harrisburg,
Mississippi. I know,
Mississippi.
but I'm saying
They only had
Harrisburg,
yeah,
Pennsylvania is
yeah,
the one they show it at in
yeah,
Pennsylvania.
yeah.
I know it's
They,
totally
they
different from here.
only they only did it one time there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not saying that it was because of the crowd thing, but it had something to do with the venue contracts.
Yes,
They
yes,
could
you
not.
have to have a good venue to have it.
Yeah, they needed a bigger venue for it.
Yeah, because that's
Um,
big. That's not a small thing. That's a huge thing.
yeah,
Only
yeah,
wrestlers, we
yeah,
also got comic book
and
writers and stars
and
from comic book movies are there too. It's
yeah,
not just wrestling,
yeah.
everything.
That's
They don't know how big it is till they see it.
yeah. That's
Now they know
where
how big it is.
yeah. That's where I met Stephen Butler at, and
Okay.
they had like 3 or 4 actors there.
Yep.
But
Always do.
half of the Comic Con was for my friend's wrestling show.
Mm-hmm.
And um, of course, I knew everyone backstage there because um, one of my childhood friends ran the show itself. So kind of knew them and knew
Mm-hmm.
everything that was going on there
Right.
backstage. So was able to actually help out with that
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes a little bit, and then they just said, you know, it's supposed to be a Comic Con, not a Wrestle Con situation.
That was
That
originally Comic Con for the comic book things, and then they had wrestling later on.
yeah, yeah. So
That's why it's
so
bigger.
that was another big thing is that half of the venue itself was just a big wrestling ring. So they did not have enough room for more people there
Yep.
to show up.
Yeah, some can
So
figure out what to
that's
do.
why they only did it that one time.
Yeah,
Um,
because he
then
couldn't do what they could. The
yeah,
other people
yeah,
usually think, oh, it's a small nose could come here, and they find out how big it is, and the bigger than the venue, then it
yeah,
starts going downhill.
yeah. Then they said, we're going to do it to the Jackson Fairgrounds, and
That should
that
be fair. That should be bigger.
yeah, and they
It makes
do, and they've have very good success ever since. Um, so the um, the fairgrounds Comic Con that I went to, the very first one only had one Hall of Fame wrestler. This is probably like their second time doing it, and it was Nikita Koloff. And um, walking
yeah.
around there, just looking around, um, his stand was the only one that was empty throughout the entire Comic Con. Um, and I mean, you had like other big places to go around.
Right.
You had right next to him was the Blue and Black Power Ranger, um, David Yost and Walter Jones. You had Three's Company,
TV
Stephen,
shows too. I forgot about them. TV
yeah,
shows too. TV
yeah,
shows.
and all those. Um, so I walk around there, and he's the first person that I actually talked to,
Okay.
and I wasn't really ready to ask for the autograph yet because it just looked like he was just setting up. I talked to him for a little bit and just to get to know him personally and
Right.
things.
Hmm?
Really great guy personally. Rest in peace. Um, and things. Told him that me and my wife at the time were just engaged and things, and he gave us a big bear hug because of that. Big congratulations.
Some
Uh,
people do that.
yeah, yeah. He was very nice, very sweet.
Hmm.
Um, and then I said, um, I would love to get an autograph with you and picture with you. But it looks like you're really setting up, and I don't want to hold you off any more than what you're doing. So um, I noticed that you do have a panel coming up later on. I'll go to the panel, um, see what all is going on, and then after that, come back and see what's going on, and try to get an autograph then. Um, so I walk around. We walk around a little bit more. We go to the panel, um, and he does his national anthem and the Russian national anthem. Now,
Hmm. Yeah.
and everyone just stands up at the time, and looks like everyone just came there just for that panel, for his panel,
Yeah.
because when he
They
came
want to ask you
back,
questions. They want to ask you questions that no one asked them.
yeah, yeah,
They want to know more about. That's why they got the fans do is want more about what certain things wrestlers and entertainers, what they don't know. They keep
yeah,
asking questions
yeah,
about that. Sometimes they'll answer, sometimes they won't answer at all. But
yeah,
that's how you really know the wrestler is actually those panel
yeah,
things.
yeah,
They put you right on the spot. You have to answer or not.
yeah.
So
So
people, it's how you get to know wrestlers a little more as the people outside the ring.
yeah, yeah. So that's what the panels are for.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
That's it.
um, and he just talks about different things like his diet. He was vegan and everything.
Yeah.
So he talks all about all this and what it's like wrestling backstage and all of his build-ups for all of his shows. And in the middle of it, I'm just trying to look up, do some research on him to figure out, okay, what's a good question to ask him? And I just could not really figure something out um, that was good to ask him at the panel or anything. And then when I go over there, I wait about 30 minutes, just walk around, get more autographs from other guests that were there. I go over
Correct.
there. His stand is still empty. I walk over there, and it's like, you had a really good panel and everything. I would expect that in good crowd. Um, is your stand usually this small? And he said, yeah. Believe it or not, um, they mostly bring me here for the panel and things. And he only got did like 2 or 3 autographs that entire
That's
day.
sad.
It,
That's
it
sad.
was sad.
That's sad.
And I got one, and he said, one of the things that I wish that people would ask on the panel is for me to do something in Russian, so I can just tell them that the only
Hmm.
thing in Russian that I actually know is the Russian national anthem.
Yeah, that's the only thing everybody actually knows. Like, yeah,
Yeah, the only thing in
Volkov
Russian.
always did that. Volkov always did that national anthem. He didn't
Yeah,
like it,
yeah,
but
he, yeah,
he had to do it.
and he was like, the only thing that is very unique that he wasn't that he wishes that people would actually ask him more is
Why he did
about
that?
his
Yeah.
Russian accent and things, and he
Well,
just told me.
that was a fake. He was, I think, Austrian at the time, and I think
Yeah,
Russia
yeah,
owned it. I guess, and he escaped from violence before he became a wrestler.
yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
escaped. He escaped
during,
from communism. He actually
yeah,
escaped from that, but then didn't
yeah,
want to do it. He
during
was very
that time,
honorable, but he knew it was a character, so
yeah,
you
during
know it
that
wasn't.
time when after the panel and things, I did talk to him
Mm-hmm.
about that, and
Yes.
I was like, um, I'm surprised that the only Russian that after he revealed that, I was like, wow, and how did you learn that? And he said that you know Vince McMahon gave him the lyrics
Mm-hmm.
to it.
Took him a while.
It took him a while to learn it, and I was
He
like,
hasn't put the Russian accent in a long time.
so,
That's why.
and then I was like, so back then in the '80s when you were so big in things,
The Cold War was starting.
Cold War was
That's why
rampant.
that gave him a character. He was already wrestling in the '70s already. He was
Yeah,
very popular wrestling. He went to Bruno and all that in the '70s. He was a very popular bad guy
yeah,
wrestler.
yeah,
But then when the
yeah,
characters came out, he turned into Russia. He didn't like it, but he
yeah,
went with it.
yeah. Eh, the biggest question I asked him was, so in the '80s when you were big time wrestling, especially feuding with Hulk Hogan and Brunos and Martino and all them,
And it's taking
and
Rishi
you stayed with Kayfabe. How is it that how could you um, say something if all you knew your gimmick was Russian? How were you able to play that off if you did not know any Russian fluently? And he just made up some words. He literally just said something randomly, and he said, "That's how I did it."
because no one knew the Russian language. That
No
was
one
the
knew the
reason.
Russian
Everybody,
language.
they made everything up
Yeah,
at the time
he
before
he
everybody
literally
started
made it
learning
up on the fly and
Russian.
was like,
That's the way they taught. That's
"I
the
have
way they
no
taught
idea what
people.
I said just then. I probably just said that I am a Mexican fly or
Yep.
something."
Yeah, it just came with the words. All these Russian wrestlers just came with the words themselves.
Yeah,
They don't know any Russian except for
yeah,
certain words.
yeah. He doesn't know. Not once did he ever know what he actually said.
But I know a little Ukrainian, but I can't say it on the air.
Yeah,
That'd be swearing.
yeah,
You don't know
yeah,
what I'm saying to you. But
yeah,
I know if Ukraine was because people who
yeah,
came from Ukraine to work in the United
yeah,
States in a place they
yeah,
worked like janitor and stuff. So one of my stores, one of the
yeah,
guys taught me a little
yeah,
bit. So
yeah, yeah.
I know dirty language in
Um,
Russian. So.
yeah, yeah. There was, I think he has even said at one point there was one time where he came up as supposedly as a face, said something in Russian, and there was only one person that spoke fluent Russian in the crowd,
Yeah. Yes.
and um, they knew exactly what he said. No one else did. And after the show, the guy came up there.
While you do that, I'll just figure out
Yeah,
what's going on with this thing. Oh, the emergency results. That's what it popped on
I'll
mine.
edit it out.
The preview from
Yeah,
TNA.
yeah.
They just
So,
posted. They just posted them right now. So
yeah,
from the dirt sheets I
yeah.
read. Posted them
So,
now.
okay.
Let's do
So,
this.
the guy walks up to um, the guy walks up to Koloff and backstage after the show, and he says, "Did you know that you said this?" And I forget exactly what it said, but it was like the most incoherent Russian thing you could ever say. Like, mi- um, Mister Mister is some kind of adjective, uh, or purple Mister um, is building, or something random. All these random words all jumbled up, and
Mm-hmm.
all he did was just laugh, and it was
Sometimes they call up and whoever just like didn't know they're actually speaking Russian.
yeah,
Actually, Russian merchants probably what you heard and said, "Well, let me say this."
yeah,
Probably
yeah,
heard it before or
yeah.
read it.
And he said,
You know what I'm at.
yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, um, but other times at the Comic Cons, I've also, as I said before, met Sting. I've met Rosie at one time.
Yep.
Roman Reigns.
Mm-hmm.
I got another big story about Rosie and Roman Reigns as
Go
well.
ahead. Go ahead.
Um,
You know, this
so
is night. So
so Rosie was a special guest at one of his um, at a local wrestling promotion over here in
okay.
Macomb
All right.
um, one year.
Right.
Um, so he was going to do a comic book thing at the at a he was going to do an autograph session at a comic book store that's now a donut shop.
Yep.
Um,
They don't last very long.
and
Around here, around my area, they do. They pop up everywhere.
yeah,
Very popular up here in New York.
yeah.
My area, at
So,
least.
and he was running late.
It happens.
Yeah. So he gets a text. So my friend who's running the event gets a text message saying that, oh, he's in Kentwood and he needs a ride. His Uber or whatever is not available. Kentwood does not have Uber at all. They don't even have taxis. And I was like, okay, so he's at his hotel. He got he managed to get a ride from the New Orleans airport to his hotel in Kentwood,
Right.
which is about 20 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
And you mean to tell me that from there onto um, from New Orleans to Kentwood, he did not think about figuring out how to get a ride or a way over to Macomb for either the autograph session before the show and to the show. Because in Kenwood, Louisiana, there is no real public transportation to Macomb.
Okay.
You have to have a car.
Right.
Um, and I just sat there and I was like, okay, so what are you going to do for this? Because obviously, the guy that's there is obviously not going to let you leave because of e- all the wrestlers that you have are already here. The big guy, the big name guy that you have, guest that you have is stranded, basically. Um, so, um, how can we solve this issue? And bear in mind, I'm just there as a fan and support. And he ends up sending me over to the hotel to get Rosie. And um, when I get there, um, Wes gives me Rosie's number to let him know that I'm on my way over there. Tell him what to look for, and he says, "Hey, can my brother come with me? Can my little brother come with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, sure, no problem." When I arrive over there, I see a big guy in a mask and a superhero suit with a mask on, and I see a tall guy with long hair and a goatee,
Okay.
wearing a black suit,
Right.
black outfit.
Okay.
I asked, I texted them and said, "Hey, I'm here," and they're like, "Yeah, we're right outside." And I said, "Are you in blue?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, silver Xterra, right outside." He comes in, and I introduce myself, and he says, "Hey, I'm Matt. I'm Jeremy." And then I go over to the other guy and said, "Hey, I'm Jeremy. I'm Joe. Nice to meet you."
Yep.
And I
That's
just
him.
look at him and like, "You look like Roman Reigns." And said, "Yeah, that's who I am on WWE." And I just sit there and like, Roman Reigns, the guy who is about to win the WWE Championship
Mm-hmm.
in next few months, you are in my car going for a ride to see your brother, to spend
Right.
time with your brother.
That's shocking.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
shocking to see a big star like that.
yeah. And I'm like, this
I
is,
remember they were related. They always loved travel together.
yeah, yeah. This is unbelievable.
That's
So
cool.
I
That's
go,
really cool.
yeah, and I go over there. I take them to the show, to
Right.
the place, and said, and I just go to my friend and was like, "You did not tell me. You said that his little brother was coming over, you know?" And he said, "Yeah." Why didn't you tell? And how many little brothers does he have?
A
About
lot.
two or three.
Yeah, because a lot of Samoans
Yeah,
are a big
yeah.
clan. They like to have more than one children.
And
Child,
I was
excuse me.
like, "Okay, so did you know that the little brother that he was referring to was going to be Roman Reigns?"
Yep.
And he just
No, he
looked
did
up
the
and was
shield.
like,
It's
"Wait,
after the shield thing he did,
yeah."
basically.
Well, this
He
was
got
still
him
during the
over.
Shield, and
Yeah.
he he just looked at me, just looked up and went like, "Wait, what?" And in comes Rosie and Roman Reigns into the shop, and the look on his face was like, "Okay, we got two guests today." Um, WWE superstar, future WWE champion Roman Reigns, and Rosie.
Mm-hmm.
And they both signed a little plastic championship for me.
That's
And
nice.
I was about to pay him, and when like, "No, no, this one's for free."
Well, you gave him a ride, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah, I gave him a
great. You
ride.
give him a ride, give him a ride
So
down there.
yeah, and I also got some
Exactly.
good pictures with them, with
Okay,
Rosie
let
at
me interrupt you
least.
for a
So
minute. What people don't know is back then they didn't have limousines or
no,
buses. They always have people says hire some people to drive them.
yeah,
Like for example, Sapphire was a driver for
yeah,
WWE at the time. Right, they came to
yeah,
her house. That's how she came from because back then Limousines are too expensive. If you got a limousine, but it follow you, that's why they went in their own cars and stuff to try to not get attention.
Yeah.
Back then, or have someone pick them up and stuff. That's how they ran them back then in the 90s, in the early
Yeah.
2000s, before they got the limousines and buses. So
Yeah.
that's how it was
Yeah.
ran
Yeah.
back then. That's what Germany was, basically.
Yeah.
Give
Yeah.
wrestlers the right to arenas. Okay, go on.
Okay. So other outside of the Comic Con,
Right.
um, other big name wrestlers that I've met was opposed to DiBiase, um,
Yep. Tell me that.
that I've said before in the past.
Yep. Tell me that.
Also met his sons, Cody Rhodes, um, and also
Let me interrupt you. He said DiBiase. He gave the wrong wrestler. He didn't say anything about Dusty Rhodes. He said that
I
his son's
said
Cody
Cody
Rhodes. It's
Rhodes,
not DiBiase. It's DiBiase. You gotta remember that.
DiBiase, his
His sons.
son,
Junior, I think
and
they meant,
Cody
not Cody
Rhodes,
Rhodes. Not Cody.
and most notably had um, breakfast with Paul Bear.
Before he passed. Yep.
Yeah, I've already said that
Yeah, I said I
story.
watched him for a long time.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was his first person
Talked
he
to him
did in
about Percy
Texas.
Pringle.
Yep,
Talked
first
to him
time in
about
Texas. Yep.
his time with as Paul Bear, his
Yep.
jokes they would go through.
Yep.
Um,
Everybody knows the story about him,
yeah,
so
yeah. He he had a good time with my uncle. Talked to
that's
him
cool.
about
That's cool.
his experiences there. Um,
That's cool.
so
That's really
um,
cool.
and then in Comic Con, of course, met Sting. Talked to him about his relationship with Darby Allen. I asked him, was there any plans that you know of where that there would be a turn between him and Darby Allen? And all he said was he doesn't know. Um, they just tell him what to expect going on. They don't tell him anything that's going on. He doesn't even actually know what he's doing with Darby Allen at all.
Because Charlie
He
kind of don't
he
know what the
never
hell he's
did.
doing half the time.
Yeah, he never did know what he was going to do with Darby Allen. He didn't know if he was going to mentor him.
It's always off the fly.
Yeah,
Like Papa said night of the show.
yeah. He was always like, and Darby Allen even asked him, what are we doing? Are you my manager? Or are you my tag team partner?
That's why
And
AEW started going downhill. You got no one know what they're
yeah,
doing now.
yeah,
He said,
and
"Oh, you're doing big things. Yeah, you're doing big things, but all you do is spending days playing.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
still going downhill."
And he's like, I don't even know.
You gotta get someone to run that.
So
You gotta take Tony. I get someone that actually knows how to run to get back up.
yeah, yeah. And then at that same Comic Con, JBL was there.
Bradshaw, APA,
Yes.
and Justin Hawk
Had
Bradshaw
a
in Texas. Nothing in Texas at the
good
time when I
talk
first
with
saw him.
him. Good conversation with him. Talked to him about the bullying accusations, his heel, and everything. Um,
There's
he
one thing I heard you don't want to ask him, but what happened in Germany, he does not like talking about that. When he did the German salute, I got him almost fired. He lost his
okay,
MSN show. He don't like talking about that. I have a lot of people. You don't mention it. He does not like talking about it.
okay,
That's a
okay.
bad thing in his life. He's
He
done with that.
here's the here's the story.
People talking about him like that. You don't like him talking about that.
Okay, so when I talked to him about being a heel,
Yeah, heel
and
stuff.
asked him about what to do if things go south. He is the one that brought up the German salute situation.
Yeah, but now he don't talk about much anymore. Back then he did. It was fresh.
This was
Remember
in
he knew about it.
2021.
That's what I said. Yeah,
Yeah,
I said
yeah.
sometimes you won't talk about sometimes he
This
will.
was about 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's
So
like that. I said that time don't talk about because a guy I knew
yeah,
said he wanted to talk about it. He said he didn't want to talk about it anymore. It
yeah,
was like a
yeah.
couple of years ago. But he'll
So
still talk about it once in a while, I guess. I
so
think he really feels like it.
I talked to him. I asked him, what are some good examples of a heel doing something that went south, and how do you handle that? And he says, well, one time I was in Germany and I did this bad salute and also stomped on the flag, which I did not know was a death penalty situation. And
Mm-hmm.
the cops were going to come backstage, arrest me, and they were trying to de-escalate the situation. And all I said was like, "Look, I did not know. I'm sorry." And they said, "You need to go back out there and you need to go and apologize." And he literally went out there out of character and said, "Look, it was part of my show. I came up with it on my own. I did not know the severity of the situation. Um, I'm going to dust everything off, clean everything off, and I'm sorry. I apologize. That was my bad." Those were the exact words he told me. And
He lost everything after that. So
yeah, and he was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Wow," and I was like, "Man, you're one of the top five heels," and he was like, "Hardly top 15." And he, of course, named Iron Sheik, Roddy Piper, and all the other big name
yeah,
legends over there and
yeah.
said, "Don't call me a top five or top 10 heel," because he's not. He humbled himself on that, um,
Mm-hmm.
because of all the other greats
Yep.
before him.
Yep.
Um, and I also asked him about the Brawl for All, um,
That was a
the
joke.
bullying, and
That was a joke. I'm
yeah,
sorry. It's
yeah,
in there. It was a
the
joke.
bullying accusations. Half the stuff he didn't even know about, and he was like, "Wow, really? That's what they're saying?" And I was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Wow, I didn't even know that. I'm sorry."
You got to
He
don't
was
believe words
very
half the time.
apologetic about everything, and then we talk about the Ronaldo situation in NXT, and he was thinking I was talking about Mark Rufio, the guy that plays the Hulk now.
Uh huh.
And I was like, "No, no, the guy from NXT," and he's like, "Oh, okay." He just laughed, and it was like, "Yeah, that's a whole separate situation there." And he said that the guy had a mental breakdown on his own. Um, it wasn't really his fault on there; it was just his own stress. And
Mm-hmm.
they called him to the office, try to see what all was going on, and um, he they just went off the internet rumors to see what was going on. They asked him about it. He had no clue about it, and they said that they're going to talk to the guy about it, see what's going on with him. And immediately afterwards, he calls um, the guy, and he just calmly says, "Hey, how's it going? So, do you have any issues with me whatsoever? You know, are you okay? Was there anything that I said that offended you or anything?" He was just trying to make sure that there was nothing that he did wrong. Um, and that's the big thing with being a heel and things is you make sure that you're doing your job, but also make sure that everyone that you're working with is comfortable. You don't want to be uncomfortable. And he's actually admitted that there have been some times where he's actually done something that made other people uncomfortable, and they didn't want to work with him. And he just goes up to him and says, "Well, what's wrong?" And they tell him what he did, and he was like, "Oh man, I did not know that that was very offensive to you." And he would apologize. He's very apologetic on it. And when we were at the panel, someone brought up the Blue Mini incident, and he said that at the time he wasn't really thinking about pulling his punches or anything. He's said that we've already talked about it. We've already made up for it. He's got his receipt from it. Um, and they're the best of friends. He was about ready to actually call the Blue Meanie and FaceTime him with that, and just to show how good that they were. But Blue Meanie was busy with his podcast and things at the time. So another one, another couple, two. The last two people that I met was Ric Flair um, at the Comic Con. Um, his line was very long. So I didn't really get to talk to him that much um, or anything because it was very long line. Took us several hours to just to see him, and very backed up, and could tell that he was exhausted. So I just did not bother talking to him very much. Just said, "Nice to meet you." Um, Took a picture with him, and that's it. Mick Foley went to the panel. Learned a lot about him. There went after the panel to his thing, to his table. Had a nice conversation with him. Um, and me and him talked for a good 15-30 minutes, just chit chatting about different things. And he was mostly initiating some of it. You okay? Not
Yeah.
dozing off? Okay. So
No, I'm
he's
not dozing off. I'm
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
my eyes and
He's
water. I got allergies
he
right now, so I
yeah,
got to keep with
he's
my eyes. My allergies are starting
yeah,
to
he's
act up. So it looks like I'm sleeping, but I'm not because
yeah,
my
yeah,
allergies are
yeah,
acting up so
yeah.
bad.
So
Pollen.
the thing with me and Mick Foley was that he was initiating most of the conversation, and I was
Mm-hmm.
just asking him some random questions
Right.
about different things,
Okay.
and and he would just initiate some more conversations. He would just look at the time and it was like, "Oh wow, we've been talking about for 30 minutes," and
Yeah,
he was like,
I'm not really tired. Like I said, just
"Yeah,
the eyes
yeah,
are watch. I've been with my
yeah,"
eyes
and
all day because it's watery.
yeah, and I just
So,
sat there was like, "Man, I'm sorry."
what you said, bud?
Yeah, I immediately apologized to him because
Right.
no one was at his table at the time,
Um.
and I just looked at him and was like, I'm sorry that we talked so long. And it was like, it's no problem. It's no problem. He just had a good time talking and
There you go.
things,
There you go, bud.
and and he could tell that if we were not at a Comic Con or anything, it was just us um, somewhere, we would just be talking for hours about wrestling and all these other things. And I was like,
Right.
yeah, that seems true. I mean, you're a nice guy to talk to, and you're very knowledgeable of the business, and you're not afraid to talk about other things other than WWE. You because we talked about AEW, we talked about um, his dream match with um, Bruiser Brody and all these other things.
Yeah, I wish he was still alive.
Me too.
That was actually a good brawler.
Yeah,
I watched him several times matches at times
and
where he
and
got
his
killed
ideal
recently.
retirement match, um,
Mm-hmm.
and how disappointed he was not to do a match with Dean Ambrose. It was planned, but it did
Yeah.
not go through because of his health situation at the time. He didn't
Yep.
pass the physical, and he was kind of
Yep.
disappointed with it.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, we talked a good 15-30 minutes about all
That's cool.
that
That's
um,
cool.
after the panel,
Right.
um, and um, yeah, I felt after I left, I felt like, man, I hope I did not offend him by it. But after looking at it and talking to some other fans about it, they're like, no, 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 you didn't offend him. It's just that he um, he just did not have the. It was also late, and everything that was going on at the Comic Con at the time, um, and we just did not want to hold up everything
Hmm.
and get everything just there. So yeah, um, but yeah, if he ever sees this and he got offended or anything, I'll apologize. But yeah, yeah. So um, those are the main gimmicks
Cool.
that I can say that I've met personally. So this concludes part one of the kayfabe episode. Um, as you can tell, there's a little bit of a difference in our quality um, at this time. Um, so yeah, this has taken us a while to record. It's over 5 hours of 4 or 5 hours of video that I've had to edit, and um, what's currently going on is that we had to split it up into two, maybe three parts. So yeah, we're currently working on that right now, and yeah, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of time to work on this. Um, so be on the lookout for part two, and let's get ready for the next episode as well. So this concludes part one. Part two is coming soon. This has been the Jazz 08. Thank you and good night.